Good evening, I'm Camelia and this is KiniNews. An Umno veteran has called on the parties in the unity government to stop attacking each other. He said BN and Pakatan Harapan's leadership must set out rules and order all its leaders to follow them.
The Umno Veterans Club has expressed concern over clashes between component parties of the coalition government, which it said could impact preparations for the 16th general election. In a statement today, its secretary, Mustapha Yaakub, said if BN and Pakatan Harapan had agreed to work together to face GE16, then the clashes need to stop. With this, Mustapha urged for an immediate pause in attacks between coalition government components and proposed an agreement between the parties involved to cease any hostility against one another. He said BN and Harapan leaders must set out rules and order all its leaders to follow them. He suggested that DAP leaders stop raising issues connected to Islam, the Malay rulers, the Malay language, and the special rights of the Malays, as agreed before the formation of the unity government. He added that any dissatisfaction or grievance must be channeled through the party leadership. Mustapha said the veterans are concerned that if this situation gets out of control, then the government will not last long. He reminded them that the current cooperation is very fragile, and one strong knock could break it apart.
Johor DAP's vice chief also commented on the matter. Sheikh Umar said it hasn't even been a week since the polls concluded and politicians are already attacking each other.
A Johor DAP leader has joined those calling for an end to clashes between Pakatan Harapan and BN following the recently concluded Mahkota by-election. In a statement today, Johor DAP Vice Chief Sheikh Umar Bagharib Ali said the majority of the people want stability and harmony between parties in the unity government. He said only the opposition did not want this and wanted to bring down the current government. Therefore, he said the two coalitions should cool down the political temperature so that the government can focus on bigger issues such as restoring the economy. Sheikh Umar didn't deny that some were unhappy with the clash between the parties and had been discouraged to vote during the Mahkota polls. However, he said when they explained the situation to them, the people accepted it. He stressed that politicians should learn from ordinary voters who understood the significance of defending their cooperation. While Sheikh Umar did not single out any leaders, the coalition government's landslide win had sparked clashes between BN and Harapan parties, including on issues of Chinese voters' turnout rate and calls to form a unity government in Johor. Commenting further, Sheikh Umar said any weaknesses identified throughout the Mahkota campaigns were part and parcel of going through an election and could be resolved in the spirit of unity. He added that if Harapan and BN are sincere in cooperating, they should stop the ongoing verbal spats. He pointed out that while the top leaders from Harapan and BN have not said anything, those at the bottom are already fighting.
Back to the topic of the polls, Ahmad Saleh has responded to Liu Chintong over his remarks on the Mahkota by-election. Let's take a look at what he said.
Umno Youth Chief Dr. Muhammad Akmal Saleh has responded to Johor DAP Chairperson Liu Chintong over his remarks on the recently concluded Mahkota polls. In a post on Facebook, he pointed out the number of Chinese voters had declined during the Sungai Bakap by-election in July, several months prior to his feud with Sepute MP Teresa Kok. He asked Liu if this was his fault as well, even though he was not there then. Akmal also advised DAP to follow the example of MCA, who worked hard and finally got their core Chinese voters to vote as promised. He added that it was up to Liu and DAP if they wanted to blame him. He said the important thing is that Umno needs to continue to change for the better so that they can earn the people's trust. Akmal added that his party remains firm in defending the principle of protecting Islam and the nation regardless of who they are friends with. Previously, Liu said that Akmal and Teresa's verbal spat over the halal issue had caused Chinese voters in the recent Mahkota by-election to be angry and disappointed, so they did not come out to vote. Several media reports had stated that the total percentage of Chinese voters who went out to vote in the Mahkota by-election was only around 34%.
Before we move on, if you'd like access to news like this and more, consider supporting us and donate to Kinitv by scanning the QR code on the screen. Next, Wan Faisal said the rich do not care and do not benefit from education subsidies. He said this in response to Anwar Ibrahim's remarks on the topic.
Bersatu Youth Chief Wan Ahmad Kamal, said the ultra-rich do not care about education subsidies. He said this in response to Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, who had said that the government is examining the distribution of education subsidies to the people. On Monday, Anwar, who is also the finance minister, explained that the elite and wealthy currently enjoy subsidies in the education sector. He said this form of leakage, including the children of those from the wealthiest groups going to secondary schools, aided and highly subsidized by the government, should be stopped. Sinar Harian quoted Wan Faisal as saying that Anwar's announcement is a cheap rhetoric to attack and pit the Rakyat against one another. He said the ultra-wealthy do not care, nor benefit from SBP or MRSM, which are subsidized by the government as they send their children to international schools. Wan Faisal said, Anwar either does not understand the reality about the elites or pretends not to know.
Anwar's former aide is seeking an order to declare the provision for no bail as unconstitutional. Here's more on that.
Former research assistant Mohammed Yusuf Rother has filed an originating summons to seek an order to declare Section 41B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952 as unconstitutional. This is according to his lawyer Rafiq Rashid Ali. Rafiq said his client, who is facing charges under Section 39B of the Act, is in Sungai Buloh prison while waiting for trial. In a statement, he said it is public knowledge that there is no bail for drug trafficking cases because bail is prevented by Section 41B. He added that this causes injustice in certain situations, particularly when an accused has a defense with merit or special circumstances that require bail. He said the originating summons also intends to submit to the court extenuating circumstances faced by or related to Yusuf that require bail being considered. Yusuf, who has an ongoing sexual assault suit against Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, was detained on September 6th for alleged firearms and drug possession, but was only charged with trafficking 305 grams of cannabis. He faces a maximum penalty of life in prison and 12 strokes of the cane.
The federal court has dismissed the applications from 7 Filipinos to review their death sentences. This is in relation to the Lahad Datu incursion case.
The federal court has upheld the death sentences of 7 Filipino men, including a nephew of the self-proclaimed Sultan of Sulu, Jamalul Kiram. The 7 had received the death sentence for waging war against the Yang di Pertuan Agong during the Lahad Datu incursion 11 years ago. A 3-judge panel, led by Chief Justice Tengku Maimuntuan Mat, unanimously dismissed the review applications submitted by the 7 men. During court proceedings today, she said the applications from all the petitioners are dismissed and the death sentences are upheld. The armed incursion, which occurred in Kampung Tanduo, Lahad Datu, between February 12th and April 10th, 2013, led to the deaths of 9 Malaysian security personnel during clashes with the group.
That is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to Kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm Camelia. Thanks for watching.